Hello guys, welcome to Juvenile Gurukul. Hope you guys are doing well as your examination is knocking at the door. So to boost up your preparation, today we are going to solve the sample paper released by CBSE. So today we are going to solve the chemistry part. So our first question is, Rima took 5 ml of lead nitrate solution in beaker and added approximately 4 ml of potassium iodide solution to it. What should she observe? Rima took 5 ml of lead nitrate solution in a beaker. She took lead nitrate solution and approximately added 4 ml of potassium iodide. So as we know, the relationship between or the reaction between lead nitrate and the potassium iodide is lead nitrate PbNO3 whole 2 and the potassium iodide Ki. When it reacts with each other, it gives us potassium nitrate KNO3 plus PbI2. Potassium nitrate which are soluble in water. Potassium nitrate which are soluble in water, and this PbI2 is insoluble in water, and that form the PPT, that is precipitation, forms the precipitate, and this reaction is also called the precipitation reaction, and it gives the yellow color solution. So here we can say that after reaction of lead nitrate and the potassium iodide, we can see yellow color PPT solution is formed, and it also a double displacement reaction. So from our options we can say the solution turned red. No, we can find that the solution which we are found, it's give the yellow color, not red. Then yellow precipitate was formed. Yes, it is right. White precipitate was formed. No, I already discussed that it forms a yellow color, so it also wrong. The reaction become hot. It also wrong. So our answer is yellow precipitation was formed. So next, going to our next question. Identify gas A in the following experiment. Gas A. So as we see that in this beaker, in this test tube, some zinc granules and dilute sulfuric acid are given, and some bubbles also formed. So as we know, the zinc granules and the dilute sulfuric acid reacts with each other and form some salt, and also form the hydrogen gas. So first of all we write the reaction. Zinc granules, zinc plus H2SO4 dilute sulfuric acid gives us ZnSO4 plus hydrogen, and this hydrogen gas was evolved and also formed some bubbles. After reaction with zinc and sulfuric acid, it gives salt and the evolution of hydrogen gas. So from this reaction we can say that this bubble gas that formed after the reaction of zinc granules and the sulfuric acid, it gives salt and evolution of hydrogen gas. So first our option gives nitrogen. No, it does not give nitrogen oxide, nitrogen, and it gives the hydrogen. After the evolution, it gives hydrogen gas. Oxygen, it also wrong. Carbon dioxide also wrong. So our answer is hydrogen. Okay, next come to the question number 3. it gives some point, and it says that which of the following combinations, two combinations are correct. So first of all, we know when metal is react with some dilute acid or HCl, it gives HCl, it gives hydrogen gas evolve. So here it gives the combinations where some gas evolve after the reaction of metal with acid. So first of all, we have to know that which metal gives hydrogen gas after reaction with HCl. So let's take the reaction. First of all, so first is copper, Cu plus HCl. So we know that it is obvious that copper will not react with hydrochloric acid, that is HCl. It is the reaction is impossible. So this here no gas is evolved. So this option is wrong, not possible. Next is iron, Fe plus HCl. It gives us FeCl2 plus hydrogen gas. Here, after that reaction, we can say that the hydrogen gas that is formed is evolved. So we can write the hydrogen gas will absorbed or evolved from this reaction. So this option is right. Third one is magnesium, plus HCl. It gives us MgCl2 plus hydrogen gas. Here it also gives us the evolution of hydrogen gas, but in here it says that there is no evolution of gas, so the option is wrong. Our fourth is zinc plus HCl. It gives us ZnCl2 plus H2. Here it also gives the evolution of hydrogen gas, and this also gives us yes, here the gas is evolved. So from this question we can say that the 2 is correct, 2 option is correct, number 2 and number 4. So from iron and zinc there is the evolution of gas. So our answer is D, 2 and 4. Next come to the question number 4. Here says that which of the following correctly represent a balanced chemical equation. So first of all, first option is Fe plus 4H2O arrow Fe3O2 S solid plus 4H2. So here the number of atom in Fe is 1 and there is 3. So this equation is unbalanced. Again next come to point B, 3Fe plus 4H2O Fe3O4 4H2. So here the number of atom in the reactant of iron is 3, and also in the product the iron is also the number of atom in iron also 3. So number of atoms are similar. Again then next come to the hydrogen. Here hydrogen number is 8, 4 to the 8, and there also 8. Then next come to the number of atom is oxygen. Here also the 4 number of oxygen atom, and also here also 4 number of oxygen atom. So this option will be correct. Next, come to the point number C. 3Fe plus H2O arrow Fe3O4 plus H2. Here we can see that the number of atoms are similar, but the oxygen number is not similar. Here is 1 and here is 4, and also the hydrogen number also similar together. So this option will be wrong. Next, come to the point number D. 3Fe plus 4H2O arrow Fe3O4 plus H2. So there is also the number of atom in iron is also similar, 3. Then number of oxygen also similar, but the number of hydrogen is unbalanced. Here is 8 and here is only 2. So the option is wrong. So our answer is B. So next, come to the question number 5. Here gives a graph and we have to answer the question from this given graph. So the question is, the graph given below depicts a neutralization reaction. So first of all, neutralization reaction. When acid and alkali reacts with each other, it forms salt and water. Again said that neutralization reaction is called when some amount of acid is react with alkali, it forms salt and water. It is called the neutralization reaction. So it also give here. So the question is, the pH of the solution changes as we added excess of acid to an alkali. So as we know, when acid is react with alkali, the pH value is also pH value of the solution is changes slightly changes into each other. So the question is, which letter of the area of the graph where both acid and salt are present? So we know that first we have some bases, then slowly we put some acid. So first compound is A, then we added some bases with it, and it comes to B, slightly converted into B slowly, and then again mixed up some acid on it, and it approximately comes to 7. That means the base, that compound is slightly neutralizes but not properly, it approximately neutralizes to each other. Then again we put some acid to this alkali, and the solution is come up to in the D position. So we can say that in this position we can find the acid and salt both are present at that state. Why? Because after putting acid into the base, it slightly converted into B, then it slowly it's converted into C, and we can say that in C the compound become neutralizes, because as we know that in 7 the pH is the compound is neutralizes, that is it becomes salt and water, it gives salt and water. Then it's slightly going down and gives the position D, and we find that acid and salt are both are present in that state. So from the question we can say that which letter denotes the area of the graph where both acid and salt are present. So from this question and from this observation we can say that in the position D the salt and acid both are present. So the answer is D. Next, come to the question number 6. Here said that in the reaction of iron with copper sulfate solution, CuSO4 plus Fe will give Cu plus FeSO4. Which option in the given table correctly represent the substance oxidized and the reducing agent? So first of all, we know that the reducing agent means the compound that reduces each other, reduces other compound and it oxidizes. After reducing the another compound, it become oxidized. So from the given equation we can write CuSO4 plus Fe will give Cu plus FeSO4. So we know that the oxidation state of Cu is +2, SO4 is -2, and in this reaction the iron is freely placed, so the oxidation number of iron is 0. Again, in the product we can say that the Cu present freely, so also this the oxidation number of Cu will be 0. Then Fe +2, SO4 -2, and this FeSO4 gives the green color. So here we see that the oxidation takes place between Fe. Here the oxidation number is 0 and here it forms the oxidation number +2. So we can say that here the oxidation takes place between Fe. So our answer is A. So again we discuss the 3 point. Here gives the substance oxidized Fe. Yes, here oxidation, the iron is oxidized and the reducing agent also iron. Again come to the next point. Substance oxidized is Fe. Yes, the iron is oxidized, but here given the reducing agent is FeSO4. No, here also the we see that from this reaction, from this oxidation number, we see that the reducing agent also the Fe. So this option is wrong. Again come to the point number C. The given substance is Cu, but from this reaction we can say that the substance that oxidized is Fe, but here given is Cu, so this also wrong. Again come to the next point D. Here the substance is CuSO4, so we can see from this reaction the substance that oxidizes is iron, so here also wrong. So our answer is A. Here both the oxidizing agent and the reducing agent is iron. So next come to the question number 7. Here said that the chemical reaction between copper and oxygen can be categorized as. The options are displacement reaction, decomposition reaction, combination reaction, and the double displacement reaction. So first of all we talk about displacement reaction. As we know, it is a reaction, it is a chemical reaction where more reactive element displace the less reactive element and form its compound. So in between copper and oxygen, we can say that both are equally reactive. No one can less or more reactive between both of them. So the reaction between copper and oxygen is never be a displacement reaction. So our first option is wrong. Then next come to the point number B, that is the decomposition reaction. It is also a chemical reaction where the reaction on application it requires energy, whether it is light energy, heat energy, electric energy. it requires some energy. But in the reaction copper and in reaction between copper and oxygen, there is no requirement of energy. So the option number B also incorrect, also wrong. So next come the combination reaction. Combination reaction is also the chemical reaction where two reactants combine with each other to form a new compound. We can say that any natural process or any natural oxidation reaction is a example of combination reaction. So we can say that copper and oxygen, copper Cu plus O2 will give Cu2O. So it is a combination reaction as because we take two different reactant and gives a product, so it is a combination reaction. And the chemical reaction between copper and oxygen is a combination reaction. It is correct. Then next to the point, double displacement reaction. It is double displacement reaction where two compounds react with each other and exchange their ions to form a new compound. That is the double displacement reaction. But in here we can say that no ions are exchanged with each other, no displacement will occur here. So this will not be the answer. So our answer is combination reaction, that is C. So next come to the point number, next question number D, 8. Here said that which of the given option correctly represent the parent acid and base of calcium carbonate. So here given option is parent acid is HCl, parent base is NaOH. So first of all let take the reaction. HCl plus NaOH will give NaCl, but it not give us the calcium carbonate, that is CaCO3. So from this from the option number A, we will not find the calcium carbonate, we will find the NaCl. So this the first option is wrong. Then next to the point number B, that is H2CO3 plus CaOH whole 2 will give us CaCO3 plus H2O. So from this reaction we can say that we find the calcium carbonate. So this reaction is correct. So this B number option is correct. Next come to the point number C, H3PO3 and CaSO4. Here carbon is not present, so how will form the calcium carbonate? So this option is also wrong. Next option number D, H2SO4 and CaSO4. Here also carbonate not present, so this also wrong. So our answer is B, that is our parent base is H2CO3 and the parent base is CaOH whole 2. So our answer is B. Next come to the next question. How will you protect yourself from the heat generated while during a concentrated acid? So our question says that how will you protect yourself when the heat generated during the diluting a concentrated acid? First of all, we know that when the amount of acid is mixed with water, so let's take a beaker and here some water and slowly we put some acid. It gives us vigorous action, and also the heat also produced. So we can say that we will protect ourselves from the heat that generate while during the diluting the concentrated acid. The acid is added to water, not water is added to acid. So our answer is A. By adding acid to water with constant stirring, not water to acid, or adding water to acid followed by base. No, both all the three options are wrong. Our first option is correct. So next come to the question, why it is important to balance the skeletal chemical equation. First option is to verify the law of conservation of energy. So chemical reaction is need to balanced, we know, but why? To verify the law of conservation of energy? No, it is not required, and the option is also wrong. Then next to the point is to verify the law of constant proportion. No, it is also wrong. Then the point is to verify the law of conservation of mass. Yes, it is right. So we can say that after reacting the two compound or two species, it gives a new product. So in the conservation of mass say that in the reaction no mass is destroyed or no mass is created. So to verify the conservation of mass, the skeletal chemical equation is need to be balanced. So our answer is C. Okay, next come to the next question. Here given a reaction, limestone is heated, this is step 1, and gives X plus CO2, and this X again react with H2O, it gives slag time. So question is, identify the correct option from the given table which represents the type of reaction occurring in step 1 and step 2. So we know that limestone, that is calcium carbonate, is heated to form the quicklime, that is CaO, quicklime. And when this quicklime is react with H2O in the step 2 reaction, it gives the slag lime, that is CaOH whole 2. So in here we can say that in the reaction, in this reaction, that is when calcium carbonate, that is the limestone, is heated and form the CaO, that is the quicklime, this is a decomposition reaction. This is a decomposition reaction where energies are required, for the decomposition. And this decomposition reaction is also called as the endothermic reaction. Then next to the point, second reaction, where quicklime is added to H2O, then it gives us slag lime, that is a CaOH whole 2. This is the combination reaction. This is combination reaction, and here the energy are released, not energies are required. Here energies are released, and which is called the exothermic reaction. Exothermic reaction. So let's check the option. Option number A, where endothermic reaction not occurring cross. No, here occur, and the exothermic reaction is occur. The option is wrong, because the first step the endothermic reaction is occur. But in here it says that not occurring the endothermic reaction. Then next to the point, option number B, here said that the endothermic reaction was occur. Yes, in here endothermic reaction occur, but in the second option the exothermic reaction is not occurring. So this also wrong. Then next point is C. Here says that the endothermic reaction is occur. Yes, in here exothermic reaction is occur, and also the exothermic also occur in the next reaction. So the option C is right. Next one is where both the endothermic and exothermic reaction not occur. So here we say that we can see that both the reaction endothermic reaction also occur and exothermic reaction also occur. So the option number D is wrong. So our answer is C, where both the endothermic and exothermic reactions are occur. Next question is, in which year is concentration of hydrogen ion is highest? Concentration of hydrogen ion is highest. So from this graph we can say that in the x-axis it gives the rain pH value. The pH value of rain is given in the x-axis, and the pH value is given in the y-axis. So from this graph we can say that in 2000 here is the pH between 1 and 2. 2001 is also in between 1 and 2. 2002 is approximately equal to 1. So from this graph we can say that hydrogen ion is highest. So hydrogen ion is highest is the acidic strength of the acid of the rain is highest. Hydrogen ion highest is, we can say that the acidic strength is highest. So acidic strength is highest, that is mean that the pH value is low. So in here we have to see that in which year the pH value is low. So 2002, 2008, 2011 and 2005. So we can say that in 2000 the pH value is between 1 and 2, and in 2001 and also between 1 and 2. In 2002 the pH is 1, 2003 also, then 2008 it approximately in between 4 and 5. In 2011 it is equal to 5, and in 2005 in between 2 and 3. So in 2002 the acidic strength is highest, that is the hydrogen ion is highest, as because the pH value in 2002 is low. So our answer is A, that is 2002 the hydrogen ion concentration is highest, as because the pH value is low. The pH value is low in 2002, so the hydrogen ion is highest. Come to the next question. Here say that the diagram shows the reaction between metal and dilute acid. Metal and dilute acid, and the question is, what is the reason for the different behavior of Mg in the test tube B? The test tube B. So in here we can see that in the first in the first test tube A, Zn plus dilute HCl, it gives us ZnCl2 plus H2. In the test tube B we see Mg plus HCl, it gives MgCl2 plus H2O. From test tube C we see Fe plus HCl, FeCl2 plus H2. and then from the last test tube we see that Cu plus HCl, which is not possible. So we can see that in test tube B, that is the magnesium where is react with the dilute HCl, the hydrogen gas evolved, where the hydrogen gas evolved. And for this evolution of hydrogen gas, the Mg will float in the test tube vigorously. So we can say that the behavior of Mg in the test tube B is due to the evolution of hydrogen gas. So let's see the option. Mg is lighter element than dilute HCl. No, this is wrong. Then Mg reacts with dilute HCl to form the hydrogen gas, which helps in floating. Yes, this is correct. From this section we see that the hydrogen gas is evolved, and for this evolution of hydrogen gas, the magnesium will float in the will helps in the float helps in floating. Then next to the point number C, Mg react with HCl to produce the N2 gas, which helps in floating. No, in here no nitrogen gas is produced, so this the option is wrong. Again, next come to the point number D, the Mg react with dilute HCl to produce the CO2 gas, which helps in floating. This also correct. This also wrong. So the answer is B, where B, Mg reacts with dilute HCl to produce the H2 gas, which helps in floating. Okay, so let's see the next question. Here says that Vinay observed that the stain of curry on the white shirt becomes reddish brown when soap is scrubbed on it, but it turns yellow again when the shirt is washed with plenty of water. What might be the reason for his observation? So we know that the turmeric is the natural indicator. When it comes with contact with any base or alkali, it gives the color, it turns the color into the reddish brown. So from this observation we see that the for this reaction, turmeric with the soap and soap, which is a base, is react with the curry and gives the reddish brown. So let's see the option. Soap is acidic in nature. No, soap is always basic in nature. So next is soap is basic in nature. Yes, it is right. Then turmeric is natural indicator, which gives the reddish tinge in the bases. Yes, it is right. We see that when turmeric is react with the bases, it gives the reddish color, reddish brown color. So next is turmeric is a natural indicator, which gives a reddish tinge in the acid. It is wrong. So our answer is 2 number point and the 3 number point. 2 and 3, that is B. Our answer is B, where that soap is basic in nature and the turmeric is a natural indicator, which gives the reddish tinge in the bases. So next question is, the table shown below gives information about 4 substances A, B, C and D. Here gives a table where given the melting point and the electrical conductivity, and we have to identify the ionic compounds from the given substances. So we know that the ionic compound has high melting point because it requires a lot of heat energy and lot of energy, as ionic compound are formed with the ions, and they form the very strong bond between themselves, and it requires lots of energy to break this bond, and it also the good conductor of electricity, but when they are in the molten state and in the aqueous state, they are good conductor of electricity. So let's see the options. In the substance A, the melting point is very low, that is 295, which is very low, so the option is wrong, because we know that the melting point of ionic compound is very high or very strong. Then next come to the point number B, where melting point is 1210, where the electrical conductivity in the solid is poor, yes, but in the liquid and the aqueous state it is good, yes, the option is correct. Then the point number C is 1890, the melting point is very good, and the solid in the solid the electrical conductivity is poor, yes, it is poor, and it is good in the aqueous and the liquid state, so this option is right. Then the substance in D, the melting point is 1160, the melting point is good, but the solid is poor. In the solid the electrical conductivity is poor, yes, it is right, but the liquid in the aqueous state it is poor. No, we know that in the ionic compound, in its liquid and aqueous state it gives a good conductor of electricity or the electrical conductivity, so the option D is wrong. So our answer is B and C. So B and C is B. Then come to the next question. Here says that in which of the following setup would the bulb glow? So we know that for the bulb glow there is required of to conduct electricity, and this conduction of electricity is formed when there is lots of free ions are available in the system or in the setup. So we see the first setup. Here gives the dilute HCl. When this dilute HCl is mixed up with the water or it goes to its aqueous solution, it gives the H plus ion plus Cl minus ion, which is the free ions, and these free ions will give the electricity, or it conduct electricity. So when it conduct electricity the bulb will glow. So in the first setup the bulb will glow. Then next come to the second setup, where it gives the sugar solution. No, we know that in the sugar solution there is no from the free ions. When it mixed up with the water or it goes to its aqueous solution, it does not give any kind of free solution or free elements. For this reason, in here no electricity will be conducted and no bulb will glow. Then come to the third setup. In here alcohol in water, same as sugar solution, alcohol will not give the free ions in its aqueous medium. So in the third setup there is no electricity will be conducted and no bulb will be glow. Then next come to the fourth setup, where it gives the lime water. We know that lime water, that is calcium carbonate, CaCO3, it gives the free ions when it mix up with the water or when it gives to the aqueous solution of it. It gives the free ions and it will gives the it will conduct the electricity and also the bulb will glow. So from the fourth setup we find that from the first setup, where the HCl is added to the water or the solution and the lime water is added to the solution, here only the electricity will form and the bulb will glow. So our answer is B, where the 1 and 4 will give the bulb glow. Here it comes the assertion and reason. First assertion reason gives, the assertion is fresh milk in which baking soda is added takes longer time to set as curd. Yes, This assertion is right. We know that when baking soda is added to the fresh milk, the pH value decreases. The pH value is decreases is never decreases, and the it takes very long time to satisfy, because in here some reaction will occur. So the assertion is right, assertion is true. Next come to the reason, where said that baking soda decreases the pH value of fresh milk to below 6. This is wrong, because we know that it never decreases the pH value. It always increases the pH value above 7. So the reason is wrong. Right. Sorry, reason is false. So the answer of 31 is, the assertion is true but reason is false. Then next come to the next assertion reason, that where assertion said that decomposition of vegetable matter into compost in a exothermic reaction. So from earlier discussion we know that all the decomposition reaction is the endothermic reaction. So first of all we said that the assertion is right, but here is an exception. When we said the vegetable matter, about the vegetable matter and the decomposition, we said that in the decomposition of vegetable matter there is release of energy, there release lots of energy, and there is not required any type of energy, there releases the energy. So the decomposition of vegetable matter is the exothermic reaction. So we can write the decomposition of vegetable matter into compost is an exothermic reaction. So the assertion is wrong, because here said that the decomposition of vegetable matter into compost is an endothermic reaction. So the assertion is false. Then next come to the reason, decomposition reaction involves breakdown of single reactant into the simpler product. Yes, the reason is true. We know that in the decomposition reaction all the matters is breakdown, and it require no kind of energies in the decomposition, but it releases the energies. So and it converted into the very single reactant into their simple product. So the the reason is true. So the answer of 32 is A is false, and the A, that is the assertion is false, and the but R is true. That is the reason is true. So the next question is, the table given below shows the reaction of few elements with acid and bases to evolve the hydrogen gases, and the question is, which of the element form the amphoteric oxide. So what is amphoteric oxide? The oxides or the metals which react with both acid and bases and form the salt and water. That is, when see some acid in front of them, it will act as base, and when it will see that in front of there is bases and it act as acid. That is the example is Al2O3, that is aluminum oxide, and ZnO, that is the zinc oxide. Again I said that the amphoteric oxide are that oxides which reacts with both the acid and bases and produces salt and water. So from this table we said the element A that never react with acid and never react with base. So the reaction is wrong. So the option is wrong. And the element B which react with acid as well as base, yes, the reaction is right. The option is right. The element C which is react with acid but not react with base, the option is wrong. Again the element D is react with acid and also react with bases, so the option is correct. So we said that B and D, the two elements that react with both acid and bases and evolve the hydrogen gases, and act as the amphoteric oxide. So our answer is B, where B and D will act as the amphoteric oxide. So our next question is a case study based type question. Here say that the salt story from the New Indian Express, 9 March 2021. The salt pans in Marakkanam, a port town about 120 km from Chennai, in the third largest producer of salt in Tamil Nadu. Separation of salt from water in the laborious process, and the salt obtained is used as raw material from the manufacture of various sodium compounds. Next is one such compound in the sodium hydrogen carbonate we used in baking as an antacid and in soda acid fire extinguisher. The table shows the mass of various compound obtained when 1 liter of seawater is evaporated. Here in the given table, some compound are given and formulas are given, and mass of solid present. The mass which are present in the obtained in the salt is given. So first is NaCl to 28 gram, MgCl to 8 gram, MgSO4 6 gram, CaSO4 2 gram, CaCO2 that is calcium carbonate is 1 gram. So total amount of salt which are obtained is 45 gram. So our next question is, which compound in the table react with the acid to release carbon dioxide? NaCl will never release the carbon dioxide. So I say that in this type of question, that is in this case study based question, there is no relation between the given extract and the given question. The question will solve from your own ability, not from the extract. There is no relation between the questions and the extract, but some values are given is next question. In the next question it will help you. So our question is, which compound in the table react with acid to release carbon dioxide? And his first option is NaCl. NaCl will never react with the acid and to release the carbon dioxide. Then is, so option is wrong. Then is CaSO4. It also never react with acid. Then is CaCO2. Yes, when CaCO2, that is the calcium carbonate, is react to the acid, let's take it acid is hydrochloric acid, that is HCl. It gives the CaCl2 and gives the carbon dioxide and also plus water. So let's write the reaction. CaCO3, that is calcium carbonate, plus HCl, that is acid, which give CaCl2 plus CO2 plus water. So we can say that in the reaction with CaCO2, that is calcium carbonate with the hydrochloric acid, will give us carbon dioxide. So the option C is right. Again, the MgSO4 will never react with acid and never gives us carbon dioxide. So our our answer is calcium carbonate, that is CaCO3. Then next question here says that how many grams of magnesium sulfate are present in 35 gram of solid left by the evaporation of seawater. From the table we can observe that the total amount of salt obtained is 45 gram and the magnesium sulfate are present is given is 135 gram, and in the extraction of salt we say that the magnesium sulfate is given, we can find the mass is 6 gram. So we can write in 45 gram of total obtained salt, there is 6 gram of MgSO4 are present. So in 135 gram, that is X, in 135 gram there will be X gram of MgSO4 are present. So we do the cross multiplication and find that 45 into X equals to 6 into 135 will give us X equals to 6 into 135 divided by 45. So after cancellation we find 3. 45 into 3 is 135. So we will find that the answer of X is 18 gram. That is, the 18 gram of magnesium sulfate are present in 135 gram of solid left by the evaporation of seawater. So our answer is C. So next question is, what is the saturated solution of calcium chloride called? What is the saturated solution of sodium chloride called? Obviously it is brine. Lime water not, slag lime not, soda water not. The saturated solution of sodium carbonate is called as brine. So next question is, what is the pH of acid which is used in the formation of common salt? So our answer will be between 1 to 3, because common salt here the pH is always between small quantity, not 8 to 10, not 11 to 13. The last option is always wrong. So our answer is between 1 to 3. The pH of the acid which is the formation in the common salt is between 1 to 3. Our next question is, 2 gas is evolved when dilute sulfuric acid H2SO4 react with zinc granules, that is Zn. It gives a pop sound when light matchstick is introduced near it. Identify the gas. Okay, so after the reaction we find the product as ZnSO4 plus H2. Here we can say that after this reaction the hydrogen gas is evolved. And when the matchstick is light around this evolution of gas, a pop sound will occur. So the gas will be the hydrogen. So our answer is hydrogen. Whenever we talk about the reaction between sulfuric acid and the zinc granules or the zinc, we always find the hydrogen, not as nitrogen, not as oxygen, not as carbon dioxide. We always find the evolution of hydrogen gas, and when this evolution of hydrogen gas is react with the matchstick, it create a pop sound, and this pop sound will say that the gas that are evolved is the hydrogen gas. So our answer will be hydrogen. So next our question is, metal X react with dilute HCl to form metal salt and gas. Identify X. Here we see that copper when react with HCl, the reaction is not occur, that is not possible. Then again come to the mercury Mg. Sorry, Ag. When Ag is react with HCl, there form some gas. There forms some gas, but not the metal oxide. And then silver, that is Ag, is react with Cl. Here also forms salt, but not the gas. Then the zinc Zn. When react with HCl, it forms the ZnCl2. That is the ZnCl2, that is the metal salt, plus H2, that is the gas. So our answer is zinc, because after the reaction of zinc and the HCl, that is the dilute HCl, we will find the metal salt and the gas which are evolved in the reaction. So our answer is zinc. Our next question is, in a neutralization reaction, when excess of acid is added to an alkali, salt and water are produced. Yes, we know in the neutralization reaction, when acid and base or acid or alkali is react with each other to form the water and salt, then what is the nature of the solution after the reaction will occur? Okay, so in the neutralization reaction, we can say that and the nature of the solution that occur after the neutralization is the acidic. No amphoteric, no basic, no neutral. Simply the nature of the solution after the neutralization reaction is acidic. Then next come to the question, where say that the reason for the different behavior, that is given in bracket, is floating of Mg in the dilute HCl is due to. Okay, after the reaction Mg plus HCl, we see that MgCl2 plus H2. MgCl2 and H2 is formed, where the H2 is evolved in the reaction, and for this evolution of hydrogen gas, the Mg is floating in the test tube. Floating nature always shows. For this evolution of hydrogen gas, the floating nature of Mg we can see in the reaction. So let's see the options. Mg is lighter element than dilute HCl. No, this option is wrong. Then next point, Mg reacts with dilute HCl to form the hydrogen gas, which helps in floating. Yes, we know after the reaction the evolution of hydrogen gas are occur, and for this evolution the Mg will float in the test tube in very easily. So this option is correct. Then Mg react with dilute HCl to produce N2 gas. Never. It never form the N2 gas. Always form the H2 gas. Then Mg react with dilute HCl to produce CO2 gas, which helps in floating. Never. It never form the carbon dioxide gas or never form the nitrogen gas after the reaction of Mg with the HCl. It always form the hydrogen gas, and this hydrogen gas will evolve, and for this evolution of hydrogen gas, the Mg will float in various direction, and that helps in the flotation. So our answer is B. Mg react to dilute HCl to produce the H2 gas, which helps in the floating.
Next question is, even though rainwater is the purest form of water, it acts as electrolyte. However, distilled water cannot be an electrolyte. The reason for this is, so our option is rainwater consists of dissolved oxygen. No, this option is wrong. Then the option is rainwater consists of dissolved oxides of sulfur. Yes, it also wrong. Then is rainwater consists of dissolved nitrogen. No, it is also wrong. Then rainwater consists of dissolved oxide of hydrogen. Yes, it is right, because in rainwater dissolved salts and acid which dissociates into ions and it forms the electricity. So it forms the electricity, and for this reason the distilled water cannot form the electrolyte. So our answer is D. Next question is, which of the solution are electrolytes? Dilute HCl, sugar solution, alcohol in water, or lime water? Okay, so we know that the electrolytes are the minerals that conduct electricity after dissolving in water. So we know that dilute HCl, when it mixed with water, it gives H plus and Cl minus ion, which are free ions, and these free ions help in the conduction of electricity. So this will be the electrolyte. And the second one is sugar solution. No, it cannot form the free electrons and not form the electricity. Then the third one is alcohol in water. It also never form the free electrons and never conduct the electricity. Then is the lime water. Yes, the lime water will form the free ions after react with the water, and after going in the aqueous solution, it will form the lime water. That is, we know the lime water is CaCO3. It will form the free ions and it will form the electricity. So it is also the lime water. So which of the following solution are lime water? That is dilute HCl, and that is the lime water. That is 1 and 2. So 1 and 4. So our answer is B. That is 1 and 4. So thank you and for seeing the lecture. I think it will